between Mexico, Guatemala, and the Caribbean Sea, Belize is a small country with a mighty personality. With its unspoiled natural beauty, vibrant culture, and welcoming locals, Belize is a destination that captivates the hearts of adventurers and beach lovers and history buffs alike. Belize boasts some of the most stunning natural scenery in Central America, the second largest coral reef system in the world, and a haven for snorkelers and divers. Hold Chan Marine Reserve and the iconic Great Blue Hole offer unforgettable underwater experiences, where you can swim alongside sea turtles, nurse sharks, and a rainbow of tropical fish. Inland, Belize reveals a wild green world of rainforests, rivers, and caves. The Cayo district is perfect for those seeking adventure. Hike through the Mountain Pine Ridge Forest Reserve, explore the ancient cave system of Aktun Tunichilmuknal, or ATM, or go tubing along the Sibun River. History buffs will be enchanted by Belize's rich Mayan history. Ruins like Caracol, Junatunich, and Tikal, just across the border in Guatemala, are but a few of the ancient ruins close at hand. It's a mix of cultures. English, Spanish, Creole, and Indigenous also lends to Belizean cuisine being as rich as its landscape. Savor fresh-caught seafood grilled on the beachside. Try the national dish of stewed chicken with rice and beans, or enjoy a spicy ceviche on the island of Quicorca, where the motto is famously, "Go slow." Welcome to Belize. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on the Industry Insider webinar series by Goway Travel. Today, we're talking about a country that I've spent a lot of time in my past life as a overland driver. It's a little country tucked in Central America. Most people have heard about it. Not a lot of people travel to it, or not. Let me rephrase that. Not enough people travel to it. And the country we're talking about is Belize. And joining me today is Chelsea Evelyn, who is the Travel Trade Officer from the Belizean Tourism Board. And she and I today are going to talk about all things Belize. An old saying or expression was, do you Belize it? So we're going to talk about that.
Better Belize it.
Yeah, better Belize it. And all the wonderful things that the country has to offer. Again, as always, we like to get to know our guests a little bit more. So, Chelsea, can you give me a little background on yourself and how you became involved with the Belize Tourism Board?
Okay, so my journey within the tourism industry started about 10 years ago. I started at the Museum of Belize, and then I moved over to the Ministry of Tourism. And from the Ministry of Tourism, I came to the Belize Tourism Board. And since then, I've been here for the past 6 years, working with various departments within the Belize Tourism Board. So I think I'm very versed with the organizational goals of the tourism board and as well the tourism market here in Belize.
I'm sure. Now, I'm picking up an accent, and for those who may not be familiar, well, before I make this statement, let me just confirm. Chelsea, are you from Belize? Are you born and bred in Belize?
Yes,
Yeah.
I was born in Belize City. I was raised in Belize City. I have lived here all my life.
Okay, so there's even more credentials
Yes.
as to why Chelsea knows her country so well. And again, for those listening, you'll hear Chelsea's accent, which, in very general sweeping terms, sounds very, very Caribbean. And that is because the cultural makeup of Belize is quite diverse. We do have Caribbean. The country wasn't English protected at one stage, so English is the main language. There's also Creole, and of course, being in Central America, some Spanish. So, Chelsea, can you expand on maybe that cultural mix of Belize and why it is so different?
Okay, well, that's one of the beauty of our country. We're a very diverse and ethnic rich country. We have a mixture of various cultures. Um, we that influences our overall Belizean culture, as we would say. These various cultures influence our language, our food, the music, and just our way of life. Um, we have the as you mentioned, the main language, our official language is English. And although we're located in Central America, we're the only country in Central America whose official language is English. And this is because of our history. We were colonized by the British, so that is why, our culture and our history allows us to be more more leading towards the English language. But because we're located geographically in Central America, we are bordered by Spanish speaking countries. So that is why Spanish is also heavily dominant in Belize as well. So while English is the official language, Spanish is spoken throughout the country.
Of course. And if I'm not mistaken, too, I believe historically the coast of Brazil is where a lot of, when piracy was at its peak, a lot of atolls and the keys off the coast of Belize, were used by pirates as
Belize.
well. So it's got that very rich historical history as well.
Mhm.
Um, so anyone traveling down there, obviously English is the way to go, official language, and of course Spanish. If anyone is doing a trip through Central America, your Spanish will not be unused in Belize, but again, mainly English. Um, Now, again, you mentioned it's the only English speaking or official English speaking country in Central America. So, for those who may not be aware, where is Belize located in respect to the surrounding Central American countries?
Okay, so we're nestled in Central America. We are bordered to the north by Mexico. We are bordered to the west and the south by Guatemala, and to the east by the Caribbean Sea.
Right, and with the Caribbean Sea being one of your borders, let's say, you're also home to the second largest barrier reef in the world. The first, obviously, being the Australian Barrier Reef. So, I believe the barrier reef that you share runs from, I think, the top of the Yucatan Peninsula all the way down, I believe, to the top of Nicaragua. Is that correct?
Yes, and it covers the entire country of Belize. So we're bordered by the reef.
Right. So obviously that in turn leads to a lot of a lot of great water activities, which we'll touch on as we get into our conversation. Based on its location there, what is the easiest, best way for North American travelers to get into Belize? Obviously, you could drive in by road from Mexico to the north and Guatemala to the south, but as most travelers won't be doing road trips, they'll be flying in. What are the gateways out of Canada and the US, and what's the main gateway into Belize?
Okay, well, for the North American market, we have major airlines that fly direct from the US to Belize. We have direct flights from Miami, Dallas, and Charlotte on American Airlines. We have direct flights from Houston and Newark on United Airlines. We have direct flights from Atlanta on Delta, from Los Angeles on Alaska, from New York via LaGuardia from on JetBlue, and from Houston via the Hobby on Southwest. And those are the direct flights.
Yeah, so you've mentioned all the direct flights from the US. Are there any direct flights out of Canada into
Mhm.
Belize?
Yes, we do. We have these are seasonal flights. So we have flights leaving from Toronto to Belize on Air Canada and from Calgary on WestJet. And these typically run from November to April.
Yeah, and again, so that's Canada or North America's winter months for obvious reasons. So, based on those schedules, you can see that Belize is viewed as a sun destination. And again, we mentioned the Caribbean Ocean and the Barrier Reef there.
Mhm.
So, flop and drop options, as we generally term them, are available, but Belize is much more than that. And again, we will discuss that in a moment. If I'm not mistaken, I was in Belize. It was a while ago, probably 3 years ago now. Um, I heard conversations that there might be a second airport opening. Were those rumors true, or was that just general chatter? And I think it was up around Ambergris Key.
We don't have any confirmation on a second airport, but we are expanding our international airport, the Philip Goldson International Airport. So we're making um, changes, we're expanding, and we're making it more passenger friendly for the visitors that come in.
Wonderful. So the airport is located, I think, just north of Belize City itself. What's the airport code for Belize?
Yes. The airport code for Belize would be BZE.
BZE or BZE, depending on your pronunciation.
E-
Now,
Yes.
Belize, relative to its neighbors, particularly Mexico, I'm just looking at my map as we're talking here, and Guatemala for that matter, is quite a small country. So getting around is relatively easy. Now, I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you the questions. What are the easiest ways to get around Belize from north to its south?
Okay, so we have like you mentioned, Belize is a fairly small country, about the size of Massachusetts. To travel from the north to the south of Belize would take you about 8 to 9 hours driving. So that gives you an idea of the size of the country. To get around Belize, because of its size, it's fairly easy. We have land, air, and water transfers, and it depends on the type of traveler if and where you're traveling. If you're traveling to the islands, to the Keys, well, you would have to get there via air or the ferries. If you're staying on the mainland, you can do land transfers, and we have private shuttles, we have taxis, we have the public transportation, or you can opt to rent your own car. And driving in Belize is fairly easy. We drive on the right hand side, similar to you guys.
Yep. I hired a car with my wife and we drove around most of Belize because that's what I like to do, drive around. Now, the other modes of transport that were mentioned by Chelsea is flights and, of course, the ferries. Now, the ferries or high-speed speedboats, which are another option as well, if you want to get places faster, are primarily used to get out to the ocean and all the keys. Now, the keys is the word key for Belize is Caye, and there are multiple keys out there. There's Ambergus Keys, which is one of the more famous ones. You have Key Corker and a few others. Now, certain keys you can fly into as well. And generally speaking, for a Goway client, we will do the flights simply because of time. Even though it's a small country, there's a lot to see and do. So on that note, there are sort of two, I don't want to say areas, but two modes of holiday you can look at for Belize. You can look at water-based on the Keys near Belize City, or you can look into the jungle side of things, which are inland and further south. But even further south, there are also some beautiful keys and beaches as well. So most of the flights work, I guess, like a bus service. Would that be fair, Chelsea, where they'll sort of hub out of Belize City, and if they're going all the way south down to, say, to Punta Gorda or into, I'm trying to remember my geography here because I haven't looked at the map.
Placencia,
Yeah. So,
Dangriga.
so, the planes will not maybe fly directly to the furthest south or the furthest north. They'll stop on the way at little stops along the way, drop people off, pick people up, and up and down they go. So, just
A few of them have direct flights.
oh, they do.
Again, it would depend on the season. If yes,
Okay, so
if
that's
it's during the high season, the domestic airlines, they would have additional flights, and then they would have direct flights. Like from the international airport to Placencia, there are direct flights. From the international airport to Dangriga, there are direct flights, and those are from the international airport to South. From the international airport to Punta Gorda, you would have to make a stop at either Placencia or Dangriga.
right. So,
And
like,
the flights are fairly short.
yes, I was going to say that. Like, it's not a big issue too, because as Chelsea just mentioned, the flights are very short, generally speaking. So when you have a client speak to you about connecting different parts of Belize, and in general terms, you have the north, the central area around Belize City, then the south, coastal and jungle in the south, particularly. If flying becomes an option, or that's what we want to talk to, or you want to talk to them about, then just speak to your destination specialist to clarify whether there is a direct flight available internally. But again, even if it's not, it's actually part of the fun to sort of land, watch people
Yeah,
get
you
on,
get to
get off.
explore and visit additional locations in
Yeah,
Belize.
100%. So, and often too, your itinerary will have it that you get off at one of these stops anyway and have a look around. Now, again, I've alluded to, we have the coast area of Belize and the Keys. Of course, one of the big attractions is diving and snorkeling, and probably one of the most famous snorkeling and dive sites is the Blue Hole, which is off the coast of Belize. It's about Chelsea. It's about a 3 hour boat ride out to the Blue Hole. Is that right?
From San Pedro on Burgers Key, yes.
Yes, yeah, from Ambergris Key. Now, from a geography point of view, I'll put up a map so where we're talking about makes sense. So Ambergris Key. So actually, let's start in the north. So probably one of the most sought after spots would be Ambergris Key, where there are lots of resorts out there. Anything from beautiful 5 star all the way down to backpackery type places. So what is the attraction of Ambergris Key and the surrounding areas if someone is new to Belize?
Okay, so as you mentioned, Ambergris Key is one of our top destinations. There is so much to do on the island. You can start off, there is the Blue Hole flyover. So you can do an aerial tour of the Blue Hole where you would fly over the Blue Hole and you get to see the Blue Hole in its entirety. It's a beautiful tour. You can also do snorkeling or diving at the Blue Hole as well. And if the Blue Hole is not on your list, you can also stay closer to the reef. You can do snorkeling near the reef. You can do snorkeling with the nurse sharks. You can, and this will be done at the Ho-Chan Marine Reserve. The snorkeling there is exceptional. You see a number of fishes. You see stingrays. You see the sea turtles. You see, if you're lucky and you do a sunset cruise, which is another popular tour to do on the island, you may see dolphins. You may see manatees. The possibility of seeing marine life is high. Okay, and if you're not one that wants to go into the water and do snorkeling, diving, you can say we'll do fishing. Fishing is also a popular sport done on the island. You can do it as a tour, you can do it from the pier or the dock at your hotel. We also have food tours, and you get to tour the island, you get to sample different local and international cuisine as a part of the tour. We have, for those that are into wellness and relaxation, there's a number of spas that offer great packages. You can just simply tour the island. There is Secret Beach. That's a popular spot there on Ambergris Key where you can go and just lounge by the beach, sip a margarita, have a pina colada, enjoy a nice bowl of ceviche, a locally made barbecue. So there's much to do on the island. It depends on the type of traveler that you are, but there's an activity for everyone.
Yeah, there sure is. Now, just some clarifications. Chelsea, your camera's just gone off, just so you know. Some clarifications. When Chelsea mentions the secret beach, we experienced the secret beach. It's not so secret. It's actually very quite popular. But as Chelsea mentioned, it's a really good experience up there, where you can just chill by the beach and, as she mentioned, eat local food. Now, the food in Brazil, I keep saying Brazil, the food in Belize is amazing. And again, it goes back to that cultural mix of the Caribbean, the
Mhm.
English, the Spanish, all rolled into one. So that's another good thing to keep in mind throughout all of Belize. Now, if anyone is interested in diving or snorkeling, now, if you're a certified diver, excellent, away you go. If you're not or want to learn, almost all the resorts have a dive shop on premises, or if not, they feed into a couple of the big dive stores in and around Ambergris Key and even down south on the coast, which we'll get to in a minute. So if you want to learn to dive, Belize is a great spot. We mentioned the Blue Hole's about a 3 hour boat ride, so it's a bit of a hike to get out there, but it is a once in a lifetime for a snorkeler or diver. But as Chelsea mentioned, there are lots of really good reefs and dives of all type, night, drift, shelf drives, all those type of things, very, very close to the resorts in and around Ambergris Key.
Okay, it's
Oh,
back
there
on.
you go. She's back. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, no worries. Um, Now, one thing I'd like to ask your opinion, well, not opinion on, but your insight. When we were in Belize, again, 3 years ago, we were at the tail end of what I'm not sure if it's an annual event, but it happens or can happen, and it's worthwhile being aware of this. Destination specialist. Sorry, let me start again. It's worth being aware of this to our partners out there when your client is asking, and if it's known, there is this thing. It's a seaweed called sargassum, which is hitting the coast of the
Yes.
Yucatan and further down. Is Belize seeing any increase in that? Is there any seasonal thing to sargassum? And what sargassum is, for those who may not know, it's this seaweed that gets washed ashore, and after about a day, it starts to stink and rot, and it's yucky. It smells horrible. When we were in Belize, there was really good cleaning up. So basically, it'd come in, and the resorts overnight would
Hmm.
clean it up and move it out. So it wasn't impacting travelers on their beach resorts, because a lot of these resorts in Belize are literally right up on the water, on the Keys in particular. So, Chelsea, is there any ongoing issues with that?
I mean, we do experience sarcasm. I mean, it's an act of nature, so we can't necessarily stop it. But what we do, we try to um, make the efforts to minimize the impact it has on the visitor's experience. So, as you mentioned, the resorts, they try to ensure that they have cleanup crews throughout the day that, take away the sarcasm. I know our Ministry of Blue Economy, they're working on projects to use the sargassum that they collect for environmental projects, and not just to have it as a waste. So they use it as landfill and another useful in other useful manner. So we are working on it. I mean, s- it's something like I mentioned, it's Mother Nature, but the resorts, the town councils, the various organizations, they work together to have cleanup crews to to work on it.
Yeah, and again, I was very impressed with that. That all the resorts,
Hmm.
because again on Ambergris Key they are like almost side by side. Yeah, and again, that might sound horrible, but it's really good because or it's not good. It's just that each resort does keep its own little space, so you do feel you're in your own little world.
Yes.
But they all work together to clean it up. And as Chelsea mentioned, it's an act of nature. But it's worthwhile pointing that out to clients when they're asking about any trip to the Caribbean coast in Central America, because it affects not just Belize, all up and down. And I just know some clients may find it not ideal, particularly when they want to go down lie by a beach. However, that's just something that's worth bringing up.
True.
Um, now, so that's Ambergris Key and the area. Now, you have similar offerings from a water-based thing on the south coast of Belize, from Dangria, Placencia, Ponta Gorda, where you have both coastal resorts
Hopkins.
and you have a wide selection of keys, and from private islands, again down to backpacker hostel type accommodations. So, other than location being north and south, is there any huge difference in what you can do from a coastal point of view in the north of Belize to the south of Belize?
Um, in terms of, I wouldn't say difference, because whatever activities you can get in the north in terms of marine activities, you can have in the south as well. You can do your snorkeling, your diving, your fishing, your island hopping. But what the south gives you is you get the best of both worlds. You have your marine activities that's at your fingertips, and you have the mainland activities. So you come out of your hotel, the beach is in front of you, but if you take a 5-minute walk here, you have the road that can lead you to a Maya city, to a do rappelling, to do zip lining. You can do a cultural food tour. You can learn to make the Garifuna drums. You can do cooking classes for the Mayas. You can do chocolate making. So the South allows you to experience more activities to give you a more holistic Belizean experience. You get the marine activities, but you also have the mainland and you have the cultural, the adventure component tied into it in one location, as compared to the north.
Yeah, and Goway will generally present Belize as that option. You have the ocean or the reef and the rainforest. I'm not sure if it's technically a rainforest, but that's that sort of terminology, reef and rainforest. But you have the coastal water activities, as Chelsea points out, north and south. And in the south of Belize, in general terms, you're also closer to the Mayan ruins and opportunities down there. So it's easier to connect those two things
The Maya
together.
cities, yes.
Yeah. Now, you can do, your beach stay up in the north in Ambergris and then head down to the famous caving trip of ATM, which is south, or some of the other ruins in the southern area. It can all be done, but it just might mean longer travel time or flights to get down there. Whereas if you base yourself in the south, you get the best of both worlds. So quite often what we do is we do a southern Belize first, and you have some of your stays again from basic through to beautiful 5-star luxury in the jungle or on the coast or high up in the tablelands in the hills, and then finish up in Ambergris Caye for your downtime at the end of your holiday. Now, that's just the way that we like to present Belize, but it can be done in any combination. So on that note of ancient history and the Mayan history, Chelsea, can you expand on what options are available if people are into ancient civilizations and what they can see and do in that regards in Belize in general, but in particular in southern Belize?
Okay, and that's another beauty with Belize. We're a destination that caters to all traveler type. No matter what your interests are, Belize has something for you. So for those that are into history and culture, we are as mentioned before, we're a very diverse country. So our history is rich with culture, with tradition. So we have Maya cities throughout our entire country, from the north to the south. So if wherever you're visiting, there will be a Maya city that you can enjoy. If you're in the south of Belize, we have the Nimlipunit and the well, let me do by I'll do it by what we call districts. So if you're in the Toledo district, we have the Lobantun and the Nimnipulit districts. Those are for those that are in Punta Gorda, Placencia, Hopkins area. They can visit those two Maya cities. If you head a little bit to the west, those are where the taller, the larger, the more captivating Maya cities are located. The highlight of our Maya cities would be Caracol and Sunantunich. Those Caracol has the tallest Maya temple in Belize, so that's a must see for those that are into Maya civilization, history, and culture. We also have Sunantunich. That's another popular Maya city in the western part of Belize, our Kaya district. And that one gives you an experience because to get to the Maya city, you have to go over the river via a hand crank ferry. So you board the ferry, you have the representative that's rowing the ferry, and you get across, and then you travel up to the Maya city. So it's like an experience, like you get to feel, you know, the entire experience. And what I must point out is Belize is one of the few countries, if not the only country, that still allows you to climb our temples.
Yeah, so that's worth noting. So if you do see video anywhere in Belize of people on the temples or ruins, it's as Chelsea just mentioned, that's allowed. Whereas pretty much everywhere else now, it's not. And this is, I guess, one of the reasons you're still allowed to do it is, and this is like a good thing, though. I know obviously Belize is trying to get more people down there. Is not as many people are visiting these particular temples as you would find in Guatemala or up in Mexico. So you still have the ruins themselves somewhat to yourself, which is a really nice aspect about it. Before we move on to another question I have for you, there is it's an experience versus a temple. It's an experience called ATM, which is shortened for, and please excuse my pronunciation here, Aktun Tinichil Muknal, which is
Punich.
thing. Okay.
Muknal,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Thank you. Which is basically, in general terms, it's a caving experience for anyone to do. You have to be comfortable in tight spots, etc. But it's an amazing adventure where you go into a cave system. Again, this is in southern Belize, and the ultimate goal is you will come across some ancient Mayan.
That one is in Western
Oh,
Belize.
Western Belize. Sorry.
Western Belize.
Okay, so my apologies.
Yes.
Well, again, I'm talking south
Mhm.
compared, Belize, Belize city wise down, but technically Western Belize. Um, but you do this caving trip. It's very adventurous, very sort of very Indiana Jones. But the final goal is you will see ancient Mayan burial site within the caves. Um, Now, this is probably Chelsea's. I guess this is fair to say, would be probably one of the most popular day trips that people would look at when going to Belize.
Yes, the ATM tour is very popular for our cruise and our overnight passengers. That is the highlight cave tour, we would say, because it gives you again a once in a lifetime experience, like getting through the cave, as you mentioned. You're getting wet, you have to swim in. There are parts where you literally have to like crouch down, and then the higher you go, because it's getting more sacred, because it is a sacred site for the Mayas, you have to take off your footwear. You're not allowed with any footwear as you elevate higher towards the Maya ceremonial site that is there. So it's adventure, it's history, it's culture, it's religion, it's everything tied in one.
Yeah, it's an amazing day out, and again, it can be done access from anywhere in Belize.
Mm.
Um, and I've done it probably 4 or 5 times now, and I love it every single time I go back. It's and the cave system itself is magical as well. So that's another thing to look at. Now, on the ancient civilizations, I know this is in another country, but it's often something that we will recommend to people. So we're going to just divert our attention a bit from Belize into Guatemala, because very close by the southern border of Belize, again, as Chelsea mentioned, it borders Guatemala. I guess what you would term the Machu Picchu of Central America, Tikal. So it's very easy, and Chelsea, correct me if I'm wrong here, to cross the border from Belize into Guatemala for a day or two to visit Tikal and then return to Belize, correct?
Yes, it's fairly easy
Yep.
to
So,
cross into Guatemala. For North Americans, you guys you would go to the to our side of the border, you stamp your passport, you would cross over to the Guatemalan side, go through border control, and in about 2 to 3 hours you could be at Tikal.
yep. So it's something that we recommend if you're into the history
Hmm.
too, and obviously Tikal is such a famous site. Um, that it's easily added onto a Belize trip. Now you can fly in there as well, but that's sort of, you're now talking international flights, so it's much easier just to go by road. You could do it in a day, probably an overnight in
Road.
and around Tikal, then back to Belize would be Goway's recommendation. But just letting everyone out there know that adding Tikal onto a Belize trip is very, very simple and easy to do. Chelsea,
And
just
it's very
some.
popular as well. A lot of travelers add Guatemala and Belize on their itineraries.
Yeah, well, again, we will have a conversation about country combos, but obviously, even by mentioning Tikal at this stage, as Chelsea says, Guatemala and Belize together is popular and also easy. Into Belize, out of Guatemala City. Some more sort of fundamental logistics. What's the currency in Belize?
In Belize, we use the Belizean dollar. However, the US dollar, the bills,
Yep.
sorry, go ahead, Don.
No, you were answering already my next question. So please continue.
Okay, so as mentioned, in Belize, we use the Belizean dollar. That is our official currency. However, the US currency, the paper bills, are accepted countrywide as well as major US credit cards. And the exchange rate is $1 equals $2 Belize.
Yep. So yeah, that's what I was just about to ask, because it's quite simple and from a conversion rate as well. Canadians, you can use your credit cards, etc. But again, you want to have US cash on
Mhm.
you if you want to use cash. Um, Cash is best at little markets. There are lots of roadside markets as well. But in shops and any sort of supermarkets or official galleries or tourist shops, you can use your your credit cards. Now, we discussed adventure options like, albeit Guatemala, you can go to Tikal, you can do ATM, there are the Mayan cities to visit, there's diving. So it's all very, Belize can be an adventurous destination without a doubt. It can be also a very relaxing destination with all the seaside resorts and even forest resorts as well. There's some stunningly beautiful properties in and around all of Belize, be it in the jungle or in the water. But I'm going to make a guess here. With all the beautiful resorts at hand, I would assume wellness trips to Belize are also very popular.
Yes, we are known to be a wellness destination, and that would be because of the culture of our country. We are very laid back, low vibe, restful country. You can do yoga at the Maya temples, you can do yoga on the beach. We have a number of activities for those interested in wellness travel.
Yeah, and I think to Chelsea's point there about the country being laid back in its culture and its outlook is quite noticed. If you are doing a country combo, say Mexico, Belize and or Guatemala, or you've traveled through other parts of Central America, like I've always noticed this when I did it many years ago as an overland guide and when I've been back recently, that there is a noticeable slowing down of pace when you go from Mexico into Belize or Guatemala into Belize. It's less frenetic. There's very much that Caribbean vibe of relax, go slow, take it easy. So hand in hand, that sits well with any type of wellness trips. And I don't think, again, I don't want to make this statement as a 100% guarantee, but it's very rare that you can do yoga classes in the courtyards of ancient Mayan ruins as well. So that's something very special that Belize has to offer. I know the answer to this, but I'm going to have to ask it of you. Traveling around Belize, be it if you're on a self-drive or taking public transport, is it a safe destination to be in and to travel around in?
Yes, Belize is a fairly safe destination. If you're one to look at statistics and look at the more data side of the safety component, Belize may seem as dangerous, but we must take into consideration we're a small country. Our population is about 400,000. So if you're comparing us to a Jamaica, to a Mexico, the per capita will differ and that affects the percentage. But Belize, fairly safe country. We have our tourism police at the various tourism destinations. You can see them walking around there. They have on their uniform, so you know them. I mean, tourism based crimes are fairly low here in Belize.
Yeah, I've never ever felt unsafe anywhere in Central or South America for that matter, but particularly in Belize. Again, back in the day and more recently, as I say, my wife and I drove around, just felt perfectly fine like anywhere else in the world. Again, common sense precautions for any traveler in any country need to be taken into consideration, but in general terms, yeah. Stats are stats, but the practical experiences that I've had, the people around me have had, again, it's a beautifully safe country to travel to. On that note, is Belize a LGBTQT plus welcoming destination?
Yes, we are a welcoming destination for the LGBTQT community.
Okay. Easy question, easy answer. So we discussed before country combos. Now, again, geographically, obviously Mexico and Belize make sense. Belize and Guatemala make more sense simply because of the tie-in with Tikal. But the international connections regionally make Belize easily combinable with any Central American country. So Costa Rica, Belize,
Country.
Nicaragua, so on and so forth. Are there any
Honduras.
country combos, Chelsea, that you see more popular than others?
For us, based on our data, we can see Belize, Mexico, Guatemala. Those two are the most popular.
Yeah, and I guess that's simply put because they're geographically next door to each other.
Geographic location and connectivity. Yes.
So on that note, what is okay? I'll ask this in two parts. What is the statistical length of stay in Belize, and what is the recommended stay in Belize? They might be the same length of time. I don't know, but I'm going to
For
break it up into two.
Okay, the recommended length of stay in Belize would be, we would say, 7 to 10 nights. That way, it allows the visitor to experience Belize in its entirety. You get to do the marine aspect, you get to do the mainland, you have time to explore, to do activities, but you also have time to unwind and take in the culture of the country. So we would say 7 to 10 nights, and the way you would divide the stay would be on the preference of the traveler. If it's someone that's into more adventure, they would stay more nights on the mainland. If it's someone that's into more marine activities, they favor the Keys, offshore islands, then they could spend the majority of their time there, and then a night or two on the mainland.
Okay. Now, it's worth also pointing out on itinerary construction, based on the points that Chelsea brought up as well.
Mhm.
If you are talking to people who are divers or want to dive, always remember that they should
Mhm.
not be diving on the day or the day before they fly due to decompression issues. So,
Fly.
ideally, any diving should be done probably at the beginning of a trip to allow the body time to get over those aspects as well. Goway generally works along the lines of doing southern Belize and western Belize first. So you get all your adventure activities in, and then, as Chelsea's pointed out,
Yes.
you have some time, be it back way up north, or well, not way up north in Ambergris Key, or even south on the coast or southern Keys. So do your adventure stuff first, and then do your chill time at the end. Now that's just our recommendation, and as Chelsea and I both said, you can structure it any way that you see fit. And that's what Goway does best. We will build the itinerary based on what your clients are looking for, but our recommendation is basically adventure first, mainland first, and then marine, coastal, or the Keys at the end for your chill time. One thing I didn't ask you, Chelsea, is now Belize probably is not known for group travel, or no, let me rephrase that. Group travel, yes, but is Belize geared to group travel, and is it geared to geared towards MICE and incentive type travel for larger groups?
Okay, in terms of group travel, Belize would be an excellent fit for like friends group, for hosting destination weddings, for doing family reunions, corporate retreats. In terms of MICE travel, that's a market we're developing at the moment. We do have a few accommodations that offer packages for that type of group events, but it's in its developing stage, but we do have a few that can offer the needs of those traveling for business.
Okay. Many of the resorts down in and around Belize, particularly coastal and some on the Keys, will offer wedding packages as well. So if you do have clients out there looking for destination
Yes.
weddings, and again, probably something a little bit different. No disrespect to Mexico, where a lot of people will go for the destination weddings, but I think Belize, as we've discussed, will offer a bit more of a not rustic, but a bit more quieter environment while still having a good time, party time,
More
as
intimate.
more intimate. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Intimate experience versus some of the bigger neighbors down there. So again, if you have any clients who are approaching you about a destination wedding, keep Belize on the list as a very good and, more importantly, affordable option as well. So, Chelsea, is there anything new and exciting for Belize in the immediate future in respect to maybe new properties, new types of experiences, or anything long term? You mentioned that MICE travel is in development. Is there anything else that Belize is working on, be it short term or long term?
Yes, so as mentioned earlier, we're working on expanding our international airport, and that's to make rooms for additional flights. We are working on different niche markets within the industry. MICE and business travel, that's what we're looking into as well. Development in sports tourism, so we're looking at that as well. In terms of new accommodations, we do have the Four Seasons that's expected to be open next year, 2026, and that's located on a private island, just about 15 minutes via ferry from Key Cocker. So it's located on Keep Chapel. So those are the main. Hmm. Cocker. Okay, so as you mentioned, we have hamburgers and key cocker. Those are the main keys. So those have accommodations, those have restaurants, those are what we considered a village and a town. We also have some offshore properties that are located on private islands, both north and south of Belize. We also have accommodations on our atolls. As you know, Belize has three of the four atolls within the Caribbean. So we have the Turnif Atoll, where we do have accommodations, the Glover's Reef Atoll, so we have accommodations on those as well. However, those are more catered to those that are into diving and more long stay.
Actually, that's a good point. Are there well, you just said so, but let me ask it outright. Are there long stay options in Belize? Now, I do know from when we were driving around, there was a lot of real estate for sale, and I believe a lot of we just lost Chelsea's camera again, but as long as she can hear me, I understand there's quite a lot of investment by North Americans buying into Belize, the properties down there, and I understand that there are again, this is my choice of words, probably not the right word, but gated community type setups down there for people who want to semi-retire, fully retire, or do long stays down
Mhm.
there. Is that a true statement?
Yes, it is. We do have a number of retired North Americans that come to Belize. They mostly settle in the northern district of Corozal in the Progreso area and in the south in the Maya Beach that's located near Placencia. We also have what we call our QRP program, which is our qualified retired program, where it's a package, like an incentive package, where you can retire in Belize.
Oh, tell me more.
Okay, so that's headed by our licensing department. So it's a program where you apply, you get a citizen card, and once you meet all the requirements, you you can come to Belize, you can purchase land, you can build your home, and you retire and enjoy our beautiful country.
Ah, okay. So while Goway and nor of our partners are not real estate people, but that's something worthwhile knowing because you may get asked for someone to travel to Belize to sort of get a feel for it if they may be considering that as well. So it's just another little bit of tidbit information to have up your sleeve. One question I forgot to ask earlier on: do Canadians or American passport holders need a visa to visit Belize?
No, North Americans and Canadians do not need a visa to visit Belize. They they have a 30-day validity with their passport. So they can stay in the country for 30 days. If they decide to stay over the 30 days, they can extend their stay with the immigration department.
Okay, so there we go. Okay, so we're about to wrap up here. Chelsea, is there anything you would like to let our listening audience and viewing audience know about Belize?
Okay, I mean, Belize is a great country. I mean, I'm not being biased, but we have visitors that come to Belize and they let you know that there's something about us. It's the culture. I mean, all destinations have activities, accommodations, cuisine, but it's the culture here in Belize, the people, that's what we believe sets us apart. You come to the country, you enjoy all that we have to offer, and we hope to be a destination that remains with you throughout. And we encourage everyone to come and experience our beautiful jewel here. If it's diving at the blue hole, snorkeling with the nurse sharks, eating our traditional rice and beans with stewed chicken, potato salad, just simply coming and getting that stamp from Belize in your passport.
Yeah, I can't second that more than Chelsea's just put out there. It's It's a fantastic country. Again, it's a Central American country. It's an English-esque country. It's a Caribbean country. It's all these things mixed into one, sort of hidden right in the middle of Central America. It's easy to get to. It's overwhelmingly welcoming. As I mentioned before, it is much less frenetic than its neighbors, which has its charm. Don't get me wrong. But if you're looking for a sort of a quieter, again, to use Chelsea's expression, more intimate experience across the board, be it a destination wedding, just be it a stay on a resort, be it meeting the locals, be it visiting the ancient Mayan ruins, Belize is what you should be looking at. Easy to get to, very, very affordable, very, very welcoming. It is definitely a spot that should get more notice, which hopefully this webinar is going to help do that with our travel partners out there and in turn your clients looking for a unique experience in Central America. Look at Belize first. On that note, I would like to thank Chelsea for her time today. I know her camera's gone blank, but she is there. She is listening. And Chelsea, just so you know, I would run some beautiful video of Belize over your excellent outro there. So I'd like to thank you for your time, Chelsea, and for everyone out there listening in today. As always, thank you for your time. We know you're very, very busy, and we appreciate you putting aside an hour every couple of weeks to listen to me and our wonderful guests. And on that note, thank you and goodbye to everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, Chelsea.